Hi, I have a guest visitor today to the Talking Day. This is Susan Cunningham, and we are in Fresno, in her home, Fresno, California. And we've had a couple of days to tool around town, look at pottery in her husband's pottery studio, do some filming, do some writing. It's been a great 3 days. So I've invited Susan to help me with a topic for the Talking Day.
Okay, and I'm excited.
Yeah, the topic we're going to discuss today is attunement and telling our stories to someone that is a benevolent witness. We can have a witness, even like maybe even a social worker or a policeman, but that doesn't mean that we kind of fell into the truth of how hard it was and told the whole story.
I think that having another human with you, listening non-judgmentally, is such a healing thing, because usually when trauma happens or things that we feel uncertain about or we don't know, there's shame, there's fear, there's anger, there's all kinds of things that stir. But when we're in the presence of someone who is listening, and listening without judgment, listening without trying to give us advice or tell us what to do, but simply to care and listen and maybe ask a gentle question or two, it is so healing.
We had a lifelong story in our family of my father-in-law who was coming back from being in a horrific 18-month tour of duty in World War II, and he had landed on Omaha Beach. And on the way home, the person in the boat that was getting them across the English Channel back to get on a bigger boat back to the U.S. came over the loudspeaker and said, "Leave everything you felt, everything you saw, everything that happened on the shore of France. And they've had it hard in America. Don't burden them with these stories." And he had seen horrific things because he was a machine gunner. And so to be robbed of that talking day, because he's obedient, he was going to do what he was told, you know. And what have you seen when people are robbed of a talking day? What has happened?
Well, I think that just the idea of being invited to tell, to say, "I'll believe you," because what often happens is we want to minimize. We want to either say, maybe it was just me, or I don't know, did that really happen? Or it wasn't that bad, or look at me.
Or it could be, you know, the people back home had it worse. Yeah. I would be a crybaby or a pitiful,
it's that comparative
self-pity
trauma.
Yeah.
But when you say, "No, I want to hear from you, and whatever memories come or don't come, I will listen and I'll believe you. And if you want to change your mind, if you remember something different tomorrow or the next day or week, that's fine. I'm just here to bear witness." And this idea of holding your story. Some people use the phrase holding space, and we might say, well, what does holding space mean? But it's kind of like, I'm going to hold the frame or the place where you can try and talk it out. You can kind of verbally process. You can name what you've been maybe afraid to name, and I'll accept you and I'll listen and I will pay attention. Like if I see you talking and I see a tear come to your eye, I might say, "I see your tear." And you might say sorry. A lot of times when people cry, I've noticed this in attunement, like I'll see the tears and they'll apologize. I'm like, you do not have to apologize for tears. You don't have to apologize for no tears. Like there's just a way to be and to hold that, be present. That's another phrase that we like to use, is being present with another person as they talk, as they tell what happened to them.
I think too of the talking day as a very opportunistic 24-hour period. It's not like we're not going to be talking about trauma for a long, long time. But that first 24 hours is when we tend to attach to some other bad distortion. And the distortion could be, my dad hurt my mom because of me, or the flood happened because, I didn't clean the French drains around the car, or, you know, just we look for some tangible, workable problem that we caused because it's so chaotic out there that if we could fix it or name why we did it.
Yes.
And so a lot of people attach something they're ashamed of or try to take responsibility for trauma.
Yes.
When they need to be grieving, just it happened and it's just sad.
Yes, and that is so vulnerable to say that something happened, because if I can make it about me, well, it was my fault. If only, that's another phrase that we use a lot.
If only, yeah.
If only I would have done this, or if only that wouldn't have happened, then it would have been okay. And so then maybe we make a resolution or a vow that says, okay, I will never again fill in the blank. And in this effort to control, this effort to kind of really outrun grief, outrun that sadness that you're talking about.
And so sometimes, like in a mass shooting at a school, every student, even the ones that were 3 buildings away, possibly, they found they need to say, I was in the science building. And I looked up at the clock and saw that it was 10:10, and I didn't hear any shots, but I thought I did. You know, whatever they can, they just need to know that as a corporate group, they all endured something horrific.
Yeah, I think it's so important that you're opening up that everybody has a story to tell about certain traumas, whether you're close in at the very center of it, or even if you're a few circles out, and that every story is important and everything that happened is important, because a lot of times there's comparative trauma, and they say, well, you know, I wasn't right in the middle of it, or nothing really overtly bad happened to me, but I still was in proximity. I still heard it, or my very good friends were there. Like, there's still an important way of saying, I can attune to you and say, your story matters, whether it's big or small, it still matters.
I think of, and this will be our last thought, but just even during COVID, how we all had a story, our COVID story. You know, and it might just be, for example, for me, it was 9 o'clock and we live on a very busy thoroughfare in Nashville, and it was like maybe the second week of quarantine, and it felt like a ghost town. There was not a single car at the stoplight. There was no humming that we always hear through the night. But we do hear helicopters going to a Midtown St. Thomas Hospital. And so just those ironies of how it was so different. I wasn't in the throes of extreme trauma. But if, you know, everybody that quarantined had some trauma.
Right. And you had feelings. And I do think that's what the Talking Day really can emphasize. It's not just facts, but it's how I felt about it, how you feel when you don't see any other cars, how you feel when it's a ghost town, or when you hear that helicopters going to the hospital, because those feelings matter.
And those might be ones where I only need to say them 2 or 3 times. You know, and deeper, maybe capital T trauma, you would say them 80 times. And that's okay.
Right. And you kind of know by doing.
Like, yeah, that's true. There's no prescription like you owe 44 times. Good. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast with me.
So glad.
I've just taken a gamble that the Talking Day as a concept would matter to people. So
I think it's great, and I hope this really inspires a lot of people to provide talking days for each other and your friends. It doesn't have to be a formal event, does it? Or
No. But it is. I think the idea when they coined the phrase was that first 24 hours is when some of the biggest distortions take place.
Wow. But could someone get those 24 hours with a friend or a non-professional?
Yeah. And that's how it turns out 99% of the time. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, they are learning to equip therapists to go right into the town and camp out. I remember when we had a shooting in Nashville, there were trailers from different ministries just lined up on a major thoroughfare for faculty of the school to go and just walk up into the trailer and have confidential help. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
great.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you.